My brother Ethan has always been the kind of person who thinks everything in the house belongs to him. When we were kids, he'd take my toys, my clothes, and even my allowance if I wasn't careful. I thought he'd grow out of it, but I was wrong. When we both started living at home again during college break, it turned out his new obsession wasn't my stuff anymore, it was my food. I'd make something for myself, label it clearly, and store it in the fridge. Every time, it would, mysteriously, disappear. Ethan would shrug and say, "Oh, I thought it was for everyone." I'd glare at him while he chewed the last bite of my leftovers. I tried talking to him about it, but he'd just laugh. "Come on, Liam," he'd say, "you're too serious. It's just food." But it wasn't just food, it was my food, bought with my money, cooked with my time. After weeks of this, I decided to teach him a lesson, not a cruel one, but one he'd definitely remember. I planned it carefully. The next time I cooked, I made my favorite spicy chili, only this time, I added a twist. I didn't use normal chili powder. I used the world's hottest hot sauce that my friend had brought me from a trip abroad. A few drops could set your mouth on fire, but I poured in a generous amount. I made sure to label the container clearly again, "Liam's dinner, do not touch." That night, I went to bed early and waited. Around midnight, I heard the fridge door creak open, followed by the unmistakable sound of a spoon clinking against a bowl. I smiled into my pillow. A few seconds later, a loud gasp echoed through the kitchen. Then came coughing, gagging, and a panicked voice yelling, "Water! Water!" I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing. Ethan ran to the sink, red-faced, gulping water like his life depended on it. I walked in casually and said, "Everything okay, big brother?" He glared at me between coughs, eyes watering. "What did you put in that?" he wheezed. "Oh, just my dinner," I said innocently. "You know, the one labeled, 'Do not touch.'" He tried to speak, but all that came out was another round of coughing. Mom and Dad woke up and came running, and after I explained, Mom tried to scold me, but even she was struggling not to laugh. Dad chuckled and said, "Well, maybe next time you'll think before eating someone else's food, Ethan." For once, Ethan had nothing to say. The next day, he avoided me completely. Later that week, I noticed he started labeling his own food in the fridge, something he'd never bothered to do before. From then on, my meals stayed untouched. It became our unspoken truce. He never mentioned that night again, and neither did I. But sometimes, when we sit down for dinner and he asks what I cooked, I just grin and say, "Nothing special." And he gives me a look that says he'll never take that risk again.